just go to the rant. Okay, so I've been asked if there has not been an imperialistic. Okay, I've received 2 questions. If Ukraine has ever been imperialistic towards any other country, which the answer is, I guess, no. And the other question is if the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was not imperialistic towards Ukrainian people. To which, let me start my historical rant. First and foremost, what we need to remember is the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was not an empire. All right? It was not an empire. It did not come to be through conquest. It did not conquer territories in order to form itself. It was created via a union between a political union between 2 entities, the Kingdom of Poland and the Great Duchy of Lithuania. And the Great Duchy of Lithuania, through historical processes which we have discussed when we were doing a reading of a book, The History of the Union, it has absorbed a lot of what used to be the Kiev Rus. So the lands that later became Belarus and Ukraine, a lot of it has been absorbed by the Great Duchy of Lithuania, became part of it. And during the Union of Lublin, which created the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, the territories which later became Ukraine were transferred from the Great Duchy of Lithuania to the Kingdom of Poland, the crown, and became part of the Kingdom of Poland. It is worth remembering that at that point there was no such thing as Ukraine. There was no such thing as a Ukrainian national identity. In fact, there was no such thing as a Polish national identity, even though there was the Kingdom of Poland. There was no such thing as a Lithuanian national identity at the time either. And there were basically, in English, it's called Ruthwanians. There was Ruthwania, Rush, Rushini, right? And Ruthwania, like this split, right? This split basically of the land of Ruthwania, some of it stayed within the Great Duchy of Lithuania, and some of it became part of the Polish kingdom, which already created a divide, which led to the rise of 2 separate identities, Belarusian and Ukrainian. But that's neither here nor there. And so, first of all, there was no Ukrainian national identity. So there was no imperialist action against Ukraine because there was no Ukraine at the time. That's I guess that's the simplest thing that I can say. The other important thing to say is that the importance of the Union of Lublin itself, the event that had created the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And as we know, it was created by the nobility, and it made the ruler of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania the ruler of, it had a joint ruler. And basically the rulers were elected. There was a electoral system. The nobles would elect a leader among themselves. And during the Lublin, the Union of Lublin, you had the Kingdom of Poland nobility, you had the Grand Duchy of Lithuania nobility, and you also had the Lithuanian nobility, the Rus nobility. But the Rus nobility did nothing to fight for its own interest, which, as which, because we actually could have had a Commonwealth of free nations. We could have had a Polish, Lithuanian, Ruthenian Commonwealth right off the bat. If only the Ruthenian or the Rus nobles would have said, yeah, we want our part of the pie, we want our share, we want our own separate entity within this union. But they did not. They did not do that. So it ended up being just the Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth instead of the Polish Lithuanian Ruthenian Commonwealth, which was a very real option on the table if the Lithuanian nobles would have shown more initiative to fight for their own interest. Instead, they were um, content to just keep their privileges, keep their religion, language, which was guaranteed to them via the Union of Lublin. They were just content to exist within the status quo of Polish Lithuania while retaining a lot of their privileges, rights, and so on and so forth, which created problems down the line when they started either dying off or Polonizing, just adopting the Polish language. All of the Lithuanian nobles down the line adopted the Polish language, and the fight for the interest of Lithuania, which later became Ukraine, fell on the lap of the Zaporozhian Cossacks, which led to the historical events further down the line. So the answer to the question is no, there was no imperialistic action against Ukraine by the Polish Lithuanian Commonwealth. There was a um, pretty intricate political union within which the Lithuanian nobility existed and the Lithuanian people existed as part of that broader union.